Hey, True Believers England team here with another first appearance of Comic Book Origins of Morbius, the living vampire, created in 1971 to be kind of a villain character. He was a tragic villain, to be sure, created for Spider-Man, but ended up going all over the Marvel Universe. Kind of fell out of favor and then got a revival in the 90s when they did Midnight Suns. First created in 1971, like I said, by Roy Thomas and Gil Kane. In the comic book we're going to talk about today, The Amazing Spider-Man number 101. So sit back, relax, and let's get this party started.
I know you're going to dig this.
Okay, as always, we talk about the cover, and I had a little debate with myself. Is this an iconic cover or just a famous one? It's pretty cool, I guess. It's not really a, hey, here's our new villain, even though it's got a monster called Morbius across it. There's a lot of stuff kind of obscuring the image of Morbius for this to be a really big kind of iconic sort of thing, I think. But that's just my opinion. Put in the comments what you think about it. Now we start off with a good old-fashioned classic splash page, Spider-Man with the 4 arms, and he's saying, yep, that's our title, a monster called Morbius. And we get around to justifying it a page or 3, but just now our friendly neighborhood wall crawler is feeling pretty monstrous himself. Good Lord, I created that potion to rob me of my spider powers, and I drank it even though it was untested and untried, because I wanted it to change me forever, but not like this. And we see, of course, Stan Lee and Roy Thomas and Gil Kane are the people responsible for bringing you the first appearance of Morbius. And in true fashion, the first panel proper just kind of repeats the information we got, where he's like, oh my gosh, I got 6 arms. I've become more like a spider than ever. And it's just now sinking in that my condition may be permanent. I never expected the potion to backfire, so I never bothered developing any kind of antidote. And now it's too late. My thoughts racing away with me now to gotta slow down, think things through. That's it, Parker. Think. You become a character in a tale by Kafka. And you've gotta give this a little saga a happy ending. So he plays a little bit of a pity party, saying, hey, I could be a freak show. Step right this way, folks. Only 25 cents and 2 box tops to see the human spider. Step right up and take a look at the freak. So Peter hears the phone ring, and once again the pity party starts as he's like, well, I'll probably be on Ed Sullivan behind the jugglers and in front of the dancing bears. And he's like, hold on, nobody but you knows about your delicate condition, and if he has it his way, nobody's going to be finding out about it either. It turns out to be Gwen Stacy, and she just says, hey, it's your lucky night. Down, chicka bow wow wow wow, chicka chicka bow, chicka bow wow wow. I'm just kidding. She doesn't do that until she meets Norman Osborn. So anyway, she says, in honor of Betty Friedan's birthday, I've decided to play Liberated Woman and treat you to the R-rated flick of your choice. And she's expecting him to pick Love Story. Come on. Get your head out of your ass. 1971. It's either Godfather 2 or it's like Exorcist or something along those lines, right? I might have those dates wrong. Anyway, she says, or we could take it in I Am Curious Yellow. Oh, little dig on Lois Lane. That is funny. You could cover my eyes during the spicy parts. And Peter's like, yeah. Dude, you got 4 arms. That's some good foreplay right there. So Peter replies, look, I may as well be frank with you. I can't see you tonight. Fact is, I'm going to be out of town a while, maybe a long while. Gwen says, you're kind of sounding strange. It's something I did. She goes, why, I got a guilty conscience? God, fuck you, Peter. Seriously? You know it's because you got 4 arms. You're going to lay that shit on her? That is bad, Peter. That is bad boyfriending. So she says, I understand. I won't bother you any longer. Goodbye. She hangs up thinking they broke up. Peter tells himself to snap out of it, think positive, think of the power those extra limbs will give you as he's basically, what is that, a bowling alley or something? What is it? Oh, I have no idea what he's supposed to be leaning on there. The limbs will give you once they're better coordinated. Okie dokie, let's move on. That just looks weird. And so Peter conjures another image in his head saying, there is one image that keeps sticking in my mind. All I could see is my Aunt May in the moment when she learns the horrible truth. With her bad heart, it could kill her. And we know that Aunt May was always about to die back in the 60s and the 70s. And Peter thinks to himself, if it does, then I'll have come full circle, and Spider-Man will finally be the monstrous menace the world already thinks he is, only if you actually go around hurting and killing people on purpose. The fact that she's an old woman and would have a heart attack, not your fault, Pete. Just saying. Continuing with the woe is me, he's like, it's funny. In pop fiction, the masked hero is always looking for a gimmick that'll strike terror into the hearts of the evildoers. The Shadow, Batman, there was even a guy once called the Spider. Well, cheer up, web spinner. You got 'em all beat. And the only person you'll scare more than the crooks will be yourself every time you look in a mirror. And the phone rings again. Cool it, Spidey. Maybe this isn't somebody else you care for and have to tell to kiss off. Maybe it's just a nice, wholesome, obscene phone call. But it turns out that the phone call is from J. Jonah Jameson and James Roberts. They're saying, hey, we got an assignment for you if you're still our staff photographer, that is. But Peter has to turn the assignment down, so he tells him he's headed out to the country. Roberts kind of gives J. Jonah Jameson the 411 about how Peter sounds sick. He sounds sincere, like, hey, something may actually be wrong with him. Of course, this sets Jameson off. He's got troubles when I'll be a laughingstock if the bugle doesn't get those hold-up shots. And Roberts is like, well, kind of, chill out a little bit. Stop worrying about that punk kid on my time. And Roberts is saying, Pete's always seemed a lad who could take care of himself, but in a world like today, anything can happen. So Peter's sitting there once again, pity party, saying, I lost my job and my girl. And then he goes, wait a minute. Maybe you grew 4 extra brains to boot. There's one guy who's got a pad made to order for you. Of course, it'll take a call to Florida, Peter says. So we find out the person that Spider-Man is calling is Kurt Connors, the lizard. And he even says, something that's happened to me, Doc, something like the accident that once turned you into monster, and I need a place to stay. So Kurt says, I get it, you've helped me out a lot, come on down. The key's in under the front stoop, there's a lab, and Peter is so grateful he does a Batman on him, just hangs up. What a dick. So more of the pity party is Peter Parker saying, I couldn't trust myself to talk too long, I didn't want anybody to know what I become. And he says, well, it's time to get on the stick. I don't exactly know what that means, but we do see him pulling money out of the cookie jar. Do me a favor, if you do have a definition for, guess it's time to get on the stick, let me know in the comments below. And so he packs up, figures, he can't take a cab or anything like that, because if he shows up, hey, look, I'm Spider-Man. So he just, let's go. Oy vega vault, more of the pity party. What's going on here, okay? I mean, there's people who've suffered more than, hey, look, I've got 2 extra arms. That can actually end up being helpful, but Peter's like, oh, without my sense of humor, I'll be nothing, and that's just what you are. It's nothing. I don't know. Yeah, come on. So far, all of Peter's dialogue translates to suddenly and out of nowhere. Spider-Man loses his grips on his webs, but he's able to make it over to a building. He says to himself, lucky I'm not a wall crawler in name only. Still, I wonder what made me lose my... But before any more thoughts could go into his head, he thinks to himself, well, that can't sound it. Before thoughts can come into his head, he thinks, wise up, webhead. How many times does a wall have to fall on you? It's all these extra arms you're flailing around like crazy. They're fouling up your timing, something fierce. Well, get used to them, kid. They might just be around for a long time. So Spider-Man gets back up on that swinging horse and he says, one good thing anyway, I'm a fast learner. With every block, I'm gaining a bit more muscle control over these excess members of mine. Excess members. Oh boy, where did I pick up a Mad Doctor phrase like that? That's more like a porn phrase, Spider-Man. Come on. Alrighty, so he says, only thing is right now I feel more like a late show Frankenstein than I do like John Carradine. Okay, this is just stupid. So he rode on top of a train, jumps off when he gets to his destination. Obviously it's a beach. And he says, never laid eyes on this place before. Can't see why the doc does all his research in a Florida swamp. First of all, you're on a beach. Second of all, there's no trains that run right next to the beach. Third of all, a swamp doesn't look like a fucking beach. We don't have, hey, it's a beach property on our swamps. Whole different place. He sees Doc Connor's house and then talks about how it looks like the House of Dracula right here in the Southampton. All it needs is Tony Perkins in the fright wig staring out a window. Actually, in Psycho, it was his mom's dead body, by the way. And Connors could sublet it to Alfred Hitchcock. Get off it, Spidey. It's the first blush of dawn, not the witching hour, and this is hardly a haunted house. But as Spider-Man approaches, his spider sense starts tingling, and he doesn't know why. Look up, Spider-Man. Maybe in trying to pinpoint your feeling of dread, you've set your sights too low. Maybe it's not the house at all which has birthed that eerie, spine-chilling sensation. So maybe it's not the house. Perhaps it's the becalmed vessel which lies ominously at anchor less than a mile from shore. A ship that doesn't know that we have large ship docks all over Florida, that you don't drop anchor right off the freaking coast near a bell tower or anything. So anyway, we've got the crew saying, oh, all right, Whitey, so what's the story? Yeah, why are we rotting here when we should be put in harbor? Yeah, no kidding. Shut your flap, Sam, and I'll tell you. The captain's dead. He bought it last night. So the crew is curious, and they're saying, hey, why'd the captain die? How'd the captain die? And Whitey, who started this off, is like, we know who it is. Who else could it be? We've had nothing but bad luck and vanishing crewmen ever since we found him adrift in the middle of the ocean. I say let's drag him topside and beat the truth out of him. Yeah, says one little guy. Let's get him now. This isn't exactly everybody agreeing you want to go beat somebody, by the way. But they do the whole mob thing, and they go into the engine room, and then they're down there. There he is! No, please, get back, says the guy we don't know the identity to, but I'm pretty sure it's Michael Morbius. I just want to get to shore. And we finally get a look at Michael Morbius's face, his warped nose, his teeth sharpened. I don't want to hurt you. Did you hear that, mates? A guy says as they're tumbling down the stairs. Okay, I guess they're attacking Morbius here. He don't want to hurt us. Please, you don't know what you're doing. We're making sure we ain't all murdered in our I really misread that. We're making sure we ain't all murdered in our bunks, buddy, and that's enough. And so the crew gang up on him and start beating the tar out of him. Keep pounding away at him. Remember what the captain said. Hold him down. He's trying to break free. And Morbius says, correction, swine. And with a blow to Whitey's face, I am free. They yell, stop him, he's getting away, and everybody starts chasing after him. Morbius thinks to himself, the poor blind fools, if they knew how slow my movements seemed to me. Morbius runs up the stairs, talking about how leaden his limbs are, remembering that when the night comes he feels more powerful, thinking of the night before, and wondering if he actually did commit the crimes for which he's being pursued, and how weak he is for not turning himself in for those crimes. So, beyond even his idea of how it happened, Morbius manages to escape the men. They believe he fell overboard, and they're ready to take one more sleep before they go into port. Yeah, one last sleep. For that night, beneath the moon's eerie whitish glow, we see Morbius full costume. I am almost as great a fool as they, Morbius says to himself, or thinks. To ease a moment's anguish, I nearly surrendered myself to their tender mercies. And we see Morbius thinking to himself, the night belongs to him, and he has a thirst, and it needs to be quenched. And he grabs one of the crew members. The man screams, first with bravado, but then with fear. A gurgling cry cut short, as are other cries this nightmare's eve at sea. Cries which madly dance like living things atop the lapping lunatic waves. We see Morbius gloating over the fact that he killed the entire crew. And he thinks to himself, or says to himself, I only wish that I were they, before he jumps over the side, a sudden retching and impulsive leap into the timeless, unaccusing sea. The sea that may help the one called Morbius forget what he was and what he has become. We see Morbius crawling out of the ocean, waves slamming viciously against the rocks. But given time and tide, the foam-flecked ocean washes all things in toward the waiting shore. By the way, we don't have those big-ass rocks. they're drawing the freaking coast of California, I'm sure, but okay. And thus it is soon rid. I just realized what I was looking at. They're in Florida right here? Is that what's going on? And thus it is soon rid of the mysterious shrouded Morbius, and of the remorseless monumental burden which is his. And he talks about how he seems okay with everything at night, but when the daytime comes, it saps him of his will, and he sees dead men's faces glowering at him, lifeless fingers pointing, rasping voices saying, "Jacques! Jacques, I say!" And we see Morbius looking up at the house that Spider-Man once was, and he decides he didn't want to be in the sunshine anymore, so he flies into, hey, the bell tower. Get it? A bat in the belfry? A last up-lunging effort, and morning winds loft hollowed bones towards an empty, beckoning belfry. And Morbius says, well, seems nobody's here, so I could get a good deep sleep until the night, so I'm gonna lay right in the sunshine instead of finding a nice shadowy area. And to prove that this is the same house, they show a Spider-Man trying to work on a cure. He hasn't done it yet, just wastes a lot of chemicals and such. Maybe this batch will be the one. If it is, my theory says it should turn blue. But it is a failure, and the Marvel editors want to let you know that they neglected to tell you the foregoing tableau occurs towards the end of that second fruitless day, just before sunset, to be exact. Morbius looks down upon Spider-Man, almost recognizing him, but doesn't. He does recognize, however, that he has to feed, and there is a victim, a six-armed victim. Morbius attacks Spider-Man, vials and beakers go flying. Sheesh, I don't know who you are, fella, Spider-Man says, but you sure know how to make an entrance. But Spider-Man makes a mistake. He's waiting for an answer, a verbal response, while instead Morbius leaps, grabbing Spider-Man by the neck. He's the strong silent type with accent on the strong, but his face, it's hideous. It's inhumanly white. Spider-Man notices that Morbius is dressed like a vampire, but thinks, get off of it, wall crawler. He's just out to build a rep by beating up Spider-Man. You know, this actually, you gotta think, he's what, at this point, maybe 25? Maybe just 20, 21? So that is kind of a young man's reaction to something other than, holy crap, it's a vampire! And that, Spider-Files, is the web spinner's second mistake, perhaps his last. He's going for my throat with his fangs. Then I was right. Vampire, yes. I suppose. Spider-Man shouts, "You're some kind of vampire." Vampire, yes, I suppose your tiny mind would label me thus. But what do simple names, empty epitaphs mean to me? I am more than any name beyond mere epithet. And Morbius gives him a haymaker across the chin. Spider-Man bemoans the fact that he's been working 2 days with almost no sleep. He knows he can't give in. He can't fight back. Morbius grabs him by the throat again. No use, Spider-Man thinks. I can't even get 2 arms working, let alone 6. I'm gonna get it, and hard. Rejoice, fool, Morbius cries. It is an honor to fall before the unleashed power of Morbius. He yells as he throws the 6-armed Peter Parker down the stairs. Morbius looks over the seemingly lifeless body of Spider-Man. That is much better. Now he lies still, so deathly still. Now is the time that I have waited for, and he jumps down the stairs. This is the moment I can feast, Morbius says, but a door opens. You! Who the devil are you, Kirk Connors asks, and what have you done to Spider-Man? Well, speak up. I'm Dr. Connors, and this is my place. Step over here into the light so I can... And he sees what Morbius is. Good Lord! Morbius leaps towards Kirk Connors, and he understands for once the times when he has been a monster, it serves him in good stead. How else would he evade even for an instant the wildly clawing form of Morbius? How else live long enough to give voice to his secret innermost fear? Whoever, whatever you are, keep away from me. You don't know what can happen to me if... But it's too late. Kirk Connors already feels the change. The change into the Lizard. Man or man-like lizard, Morbius says. Stand away from the chosen victim of Morbius. Never. Spider-Man is my enemy. Mine must be the hand that kills him. Mine. And Spider-Man groans. Voices, but who? Spider-Man sees the two creatures attacking each other. Oh, no. You know what? I gotta tell you, that is really cool. I like that book. That was very well written. I mean, like I said, Roy Thomas. The art was good. Gil Kane. I like that. This is why I do these videos, because a lot of times we know, okay, he's a vampire. We know where he made his first appearance. A lot of people are really just kind of focusing on the value of books, much less what is inside of them. So that's why I like to do the first appearances, the comic book origins. Let's see what's on behind these covers that all the speculators are making expensive books out of. This one, I think, really holds up after 50 years. Almost as old as I am, seriously. That is kind of awesome. Of course, a lot of people have given up on Morbius because he made a bad movie. Oh, shut up. Comics and movies are different things. Unfortunately, not a lot of people are seeing that. I, on the other hand, like I said, I like this one. I do. But that's just my opinion. What is yours? Let me know in the comments below. Did you like it? Did you hate it? Don't forget to click on the video or the playlist. I'm going to put the whole playlist for Comic Book Origins up here. Do yourself a favor and go for a deep dive. Watch them all. I think you're going to enjoy it. And you're going to want to keep an eye out. It's Halloween, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to be doing horror comic characters and horror icons such as Alice Cooper. He's the next one coming up. So, subscribe. Ring the notification bell. Set it to all so you don't miss anything. Cool things happen around these parts. And hey, do me a favor. Go on over to Ko-Fi. Become a member. I'm going to be doing stuff over there as well. Or just drop $1 in the tip jar. I'd like to thank everybody who's already done that. And to everyone, all of the true believers, thank you very, very much for watching. Have a good night.